Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. I'm feeling a lot better now. Thank you for all of the well wishes. I know I didn't respond to all of you guys on Twitter, but I didn't want to annoy everyone who has my post notifications on saying thank you, but I do appreciate all the well wishes. I am feeling a lot better. I'm ready to make this YouTube video, so let's dive in. I'm going to bring you guys some fresh new projects, and then I also want to talk about the current state of the market as well as what happened to Pixelmon. So at the moment, we're seeing crypto take a nice move up, which is obviously poorly reflecting on the NFT market. And as I said in my last video, everything was very much overextended and the market could retrace at any minute. And that is what we are seeing now, as money is redirected from the NFT market back into crypto. And we can see that correlation directly on Dune's analytics for OpenSea volume. As we see, we've slowly been getting lower and lower on our daily average volumes, now shifting between 120 to 150 million, as opposed to previously seeing 220, 200 million to $250 million days. So as I mentioned, before we dive into today's projects, I really quickly want to talk about Pixelmon and what happened with Pixelmon, and I'd like to personally explain why it went the way it did from my perspective, and we can hop onto IC Tools and see the data a little bit more in depth. So first off, if you don't know, Pixelmon decided to Dutch auction their public auction for 7.75k at 3 Ethereum. Now obviously that is an extremely high Dutch auction price. I don't really know any or many other NFTs that have started above 1 Ethereum, but the new meta for a lot of projects recently is doing a Dutch auction for the public mint instead of doing something like a raffle or whitelist mint only. Generally, if the project is hyped up enough, people are just going to end up paying these fees anyway, and the collection is going to make more money. But in the case of Pixelmon starting a Dutch auction at 3 Ethereum, I think the NFT community and the market as a whole learned a valuable lesson from this scenario. Now, I did not personally mint one at 3 Ethereum for the reasons that I'm about to talk to, which is kind of what played out. It didn't happen how I thought it was going to happen, but it definitely happened in a worse off way. So first off, we kind of saw something like we saw with Raid Party, where Raid Party minted out at a super high price and the floor price fell underneath it. Now, there's a lot of factors such as the market shifting, crypto moving up, but the main point that I want to explain to you guys, and that's exactly what happened with Pixelmon, is that when you start these auctions or the mints at such a high price, there's no sustainable volume, there's no sustainable momentum to get the initial sales going, to get the secondary market sales pumping, and to induce FOMO. So in other words, when you start the mint or the Dutch auction at such a high price, you're creating an artificial floor and you're already wiping out a ton of potential buyers that maybe would have bought in at 1 Ethereum or half an ETH, on the secondary market, and slowly let the momentum build up, driving up the floor price. Because ironically, if these publicly Dutch auctioned at around 0.5 ETH, I guarantee that this would probably be sitting at around a 2 to 3, maybe even a 4 Ethereum floor price if they did it the opposite way. So as we saw with Pixelmon's Dutch auction, most of them did sell out at 3 Ethereum. Not all of them. I think the price dropped by 0.1 Ethereum or something like that every 10 minutes. It ended up finally selling out at 2.4 Ethereum, but the bulk of it was definitely over 2.75 Ethereum. And essentially what happened was all of the early minters started to quickly realize that there was no OpenSea volume. There was no action happening on the secondary market. No one was buying these listings up, and so people started panic selling and undercutting prices. And then as you can see, it was just an absolute snowball down to 1 Ethereum. And by the way, I'm not saying that by any means that this is Pixelmon's fault. All I'm saying is this is what happens when you Dutch auction something at such a high price and a bunch of people FOMO into it, expecting to get a 3 to 5x or whatever X that they're trying to get right off the bat. That might be how the market works sometimes, but when you're putting such a high initial price point on the initial sellout, it's probably not going to go as planned, and you're going to end up getting crushed, as we saw with Pixelmon dipping down below 1 Ethereum just an hour and a half after the mint out at 3 Ethereum. So I really do feel bad for a lot of people. It's definitely unfortunate, but the real learning curve here, at the end of the day, this is still a market of buyers and sellers. As with any market, there's going to be cycles. So last month, a lot of people were really spoiled with the bull run, seeing 5 to 10x gains as a normal thing happening in the NFT space, when realistically, it's not that normal, especially if we're not in a bull run. We're more realistically going to see something like 2 to 5x gains. Yeah, sometimes we're going to get those banger projects that definitely hit a 10 ETH, and that's usually at a lower mint price, but we're not going to see these major ginormous days like we were seeing in January and at the end of December. And I think a lot of people got caught in the hype and the euphoria of that and forgot that, like with any other market, we are buyers and sellers playing a very speculative game of supply and demand. And so my word of caution to you, whether you're new or whether you've been around for a minute, is that at the end of the day, this is still a market that moves in cycles, a market that is driven by people, which is driven by emotion, which is driven by psychology. At the end of the day, the market is right. The floor price on any project is a direct reflection of supply and demand. So if the floor price ended up going to to 1 Ethereum. Well, that's not really the project's fault. That is the traders, the people who bought into the project's fault for buying in when there wasn't enough demand at this price point for the supply that there was. Now, obviously, I'm sure the project had a lot to play in this. I personally talked about Pixelmon. I always thought it was going to do very well. Obviously, I didn't know that they were going to Dutch auction at 3 Ethereum. Not that that's a huge deal, because at the end of the day, it was everyone's decision who participated in the Dutch auction to purchase it at 3 Ethereum. Everyone who participated in this Dutch auction could have just as easily waited for price to come down to a reasonable amount to buy into. With all that being said, I just wanted to give a brief recap on Pixelmon and what happened. And just to remind you guys that at the end of the day, like I said, this is just another marketplace driven by emotions, driven by supply and demand. And you have to remember that you and me, we're just players in the market. Just because the last project or the 5 projects before that or the 5 projects before that did a 10x doesn't guarantee anything in any market. The moment that you start creating expectations that every single NFT that you mint or buy is going to be a winner, or every single project you mint is going to flip for a 5 to 10x, that is the moment that you have failed as a trader, and you are going to go down a very bad spiral, because you're going to start taking losses back to back, wondering what's happening, wondering why the market isn't fulfilling your expectations, when in reality it's you over positioning yourself, over leveraging, not understanding the current market conditions, and not doing your own research to take a step back and realizing, hey, we're in a different cycle, things are a bit differently, okay, I need to adapt, I need to take it back a notch, maybe this project isn't worth this price, maybe I should wait and see how the analytics look on the secondary market before I ape into this, before I spend a bunch of money on this project just because I'm scared I'll miss out. And the reality is that I miss out on projects all the time because I take a more cautious route. Do I do some more speculative plays? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I know my number one priority as a trader before making money is to preserve my own capital. If I can't even preserve my own capital, there's no way that I'm going to be able to stay in this for the long run, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to keep letting my money make me more money. So I just wanted to get that in your heads and get you guys to start thinking about that, because I really do feel bad for all the people who minted a bunch of those at such a high Ethereum price, because this was a very expensive mistake. I'm sure a lot of people learned a very valuable lesson, but with that being said, I think this lesson could have been avoided entirely if you understood the current market conditions and the fact that this is just a too high of a mint price to sustain for organic, healthy volume. All right, now I know that was a little bit of a long rant on Pixelmon, but I just wanted to give you guys some of my insights into what I'm thinking about when it comes to the market and when these things happen, because it really is important for you guys to understand these things, because all of those profits that you made in the bull run the previous months aren't going to mean anything if you end up getting sucked into these scenarios and end up being back at 0 or even worse, negative. So with that being said, before I dive into the projects, like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. Let's hop in. All right, so the first project that I want to touch on is called JIN X9. This is a 3D anime crossover project. I saw this one about a week ago. They only had like 200 followers, and the artwork, the art style just kind of caught my eye. I thought it was pretty unique. It is brand new. They do have a Discord. I think there's like 3,000 members in there. Let's see. Okay, there's about 2.4 thousand members in there. It's a pretty easy whitelist at the moment just because there's not too many people. But as you can see, it says nostalgic futurism. So I'm assuming by that they mean the nostalgia of like your favorite anime series turned into futurism with their 3D style architects that they're going with. So if we hop over to their sneak peeks, we can see the 3 sneak peeks that we're working with so far. I really like this art style. It's just quite unique, something I haven't seen before. It kind of meshes the 3D and anime trend at the same time. So I think that this looks really good. Again, don't know too much information. It just says brought to you by a team of 3D designers, music producers, game developers, and managers. So I'm hoping to see a lot more from this project soon. They don't have a website yet, not really. It's just this coming soon page, but I think these guys have a lot of room to grow. They're brand new. So like I said, I would just hop in their Discord. They are going to close the Discord soon, so you might as well be in there just in case it pops off. Give them a follow on Twitter. I did recently do a Twitter giveaway with them, and they are hosting more and more Twitter giveaways. They don't have a big following. It's going to be a lot easier to get whitelisted on this project, just in case it does end up doing something really cool, which like I said, I think it will, just because the art style is quite unique, and at the same time, they're still hitting the trend on the nail with 3D, which is definitely coming to its cycle's end, but they do have the anime aspect of it, which is still hot, and I think that this looks really good. And the good thing is that they're kind of like coming out in a bear market right now, the NFT bear market. So who knows, maybe by the time they launch, it will actually be the perfect setting and we will be just entering a new bull market. All right, now the next project that I want to talk about is called Hikari. This is going to be another anime themed project. What's actually really cool about this project, for me at least, is that I've been following G's Arts, the artist behind this project, on Instagram since like 2020. I've actually posted several of their artworks on the digital anime account I run. This one actually got about 48,000 likes, and this was back in December of 2021, before their NFT project ever popped up on Twitter. So either way, all of that being said, they only have about 14,000 followers on Twitter. This is a brand new project. They don't have a Discord yet. I do think that the artwork looks really good. It looks really unique. It's definitely one of the better anime styles that I've seen in the space, but that's obvious. I'm a little biased because I've always been a fan of this person's art. I saw that they did drop a 1 of 1 of Ryan D Crypto today. This is a project that will be on my radar. I'm going to have those post notifications turned on for when they do drop their Discord so that I can make sure that I am in that Discord when they drop it. And you can also see on their pinned tweet, it says personalization over randomization. So it seems like maybe this would be a smaller collection and the artist is really going to try and tailor this to be more personalized, but who knows, maybe they're really going to work on drawing an entire 5 to 10k collection. I don't really know. I've been following and supporting the artist for a while, so it's cool to see that it's not just some random project popping up with some team that just commissioned some random artists to make some artwork. This is a pretty well-known artist. As you can see on Twitter, they have their own profile with 20k followers, 1.2 mil on TikTok. So this is someone known in the community for their art style and their artwork. That's it for Hikari. Give them a follow, turn on those post notifications, and let's jump into the next project. And then the last project that I wanted to touch on is called RiceDay. So it says RiceDay is aiming to create the first Web3 loyalty food program. So it's going to be about food and NFTs and connecting people, as they say, one grain at a time. And as you can see, they're like these 2D/3D characters. I think they look pretty cool, and I think the artwork is definitely there, but I think where they certainly shine is in their unique approach to the utility and the roadmap and what they plan to do with their food events and real life meetups and stuff like that. So if you hop over to their server, for 10,000 members, their engagement is pretty solid. We can quickly pop over the roadmap and see their phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So it says in phase 1, foodies will unite at NFT NYC in 2022. They're going to do a grain token with restaurant partnerships and social events. And then they're planning on releasing their own food app where holders will be able to use their grain tokens to redeem rewards and stuff. So maybe if it was something like Postmates and your order was $20, you could redeem some of your grain tokens and bump the cost down to $10, something like that. So I definitely think that this is pretty unique, something new and innovative that hasn't yet been done before, and whether or not they can do it, only time will tell, but it is a cool concept. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully I gave you some valuable insight to what happened with Pixelmon so that you can avoid those situations in the future, protect your capital, and invest wisely. Because like I said, while the goal in this market is always to make money, the number one goal should always be to preserve your capital first, then make money second. That's it for me. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at blockchaingavin, like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.